fragrance friends, back again with another review, and I have another special one for you today. The fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today has a lot of personality, and the personality that I picture in my mind is a sophisticated man, a confident, warm, inviting personality, a guy who's traveled the world and has great stories about traveling abroad. He's very wise and he's important. And this fragrance, for some reason, gives me that image of that kind of personality. And the fragrance I'm talking about today is Sensei for Men. Sensei was released midsummer in 2014 this year. It was available only at Luckyscent, and the nose behind this fragrance is Piotr Czarnecki. And let me go ahead and show you the package. This is the box. The box has this tobacco leaf texture. It's very dark brown, and it really is a description of the fragrance itself just from the packaging. You open it up, you got a little insert inside that has a little description of the fragrance, and there's a nice little coffin, and this is all lined with ribbon. Here's the bottle. Very classy bottle. Comes in 3 concentrations. Comes in it's individual 33 ml bottles, and they're all connected together with the cap. It's all as one piece, and it comes in an EDT, an EDP, and an extrait parfum versions. So they each have their own individual sprayer. Anyway, so let's get on into this fragrance. The notes that I get from Fragrantica were whiskey, coffee, and tobacco in the top, incense, myrrh, and spicy notes in the mid, and ambrette, labdanum, amber, and musk for the base. So let's go ahead and try to describe the scent. I have the dry down on this side, and by the way, I'm only going to be reviewing the EDP. I'm not really going to go into the difference between each one. I just want to give you an idea of what the scent is all about, and they're kind of all similar, just different levels of richness, and certain notes are more rich in each concentration. It's got a decent sprayer. Okay. Initially you get the main 3 notes that I get is a whiskey, coffee, and a tobacco, and they dominate the opening probably for about 30 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes, and it almost has a chocolatey vibe, and I think that comes from the whiskey. Whiskey, the note on Fragrantica whiskey is described as a complex scent that can capture the smell of sweet hay, oak barrels, chocolate, and honey, and I think that may be where that chocolatey vibe is coming from. It's not a whiskey like you're thinking pouring a glass of whiskey on the rocks or anything like that. It's not that kind of whiskey. It's more warm, more sophisticated. And the tobacco is a very dark tobacco. It's like a fine tobacco used to roll Cuban cigars. Yeah. And it's really warm as well. All 3 of these notes are warm. And the coffee's, it's not like a cup of coffee, it's like an unground, I think of it as like a bag of coffee beans. Like good coffee. Now, after about 30 minutes or so, these kind of start to subside. And then you get more into the heart of the fragrance, where it's very spicy. You get the myrrh, the resins, and the incense, but it still retains that sweetness. Now, something happens with these top notes that I'll tell you about a little bit later that I find very interesting, and it may just be my skin. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else who has experience with the fragrance could comment below and let me know. if it happens to you too, but this is something that I've noticed with the fragrance. Anyway, so when the spice starts to come forward, this is more dry over here. So as the spice starts to come forward, it starts to dominate the composition more. And alongside that, there's this unburned incense. I don't really get a smoky incense. It's not like burning incense. It doesn't give that vibe at all. It gives more of like the just smelling an incense, like an unburned incense. And the spicy notes that Fragrantica mentioned is, I'm going to say it's cinnamon and clove or two that I can pick out distinctively. There may be more in there, but those two stand out more prominent than the others. And especially the clove. There's definitely clove in here, and you know, it's kind of sharp and a little medicinal, but it's not overpowering, you know. I mean, cloves can kind of be a polarizing note in perfume. And there, you know, I hear a lot of people talk about Frederic Malle Musc Ravageur having an overload of cloves. This is not that type of clove to me. To me, this clove is more along the lines of, if you've smelled Serge Lutton Serge Noir. Yeah, it's really like that. Now, Serge Noir has cumin and incense and other spices. It's a dark gothic fragrance. These fragrances are not the same. Don't think I'm making that kind of comparison. But the clove, I can see the comparison of the clove there. Now, what I was telling you about with the top notes that's interesting to me is the top notes are bold in the opening, and then they kind of subside after 30 minutes, and then the spices come up, and then you get these very spicy, incensey, slightly sweet way in the background. It's not overly sweet fragrance at all. But after a while, when the heart notes start to subside back down, the top notes come back in. But it's like the top notes went backstage, melded together, and came back, and now they're like stars in the show, but in a very smooth, refined way. And that's really the best way I can describe it. It's very unique. I mean, it could just be my skin, but like I said, someone comment and tell me what you think. And then the base of this is kind of a softly sweetened, yeah, it's softly sweetened, somewhat powdery, a little chocolatey musk. I mean, it's not anything overly chocolatey or anything. It's pretty soft once it gets down to the base. So performance on this. Performance is good for me. Projection is good. It's not beast. It's not weak. And I think it has pretty good sillage as well, especially whenever you get up more towards the extrait. I think it's a little heavier scent that leaves the scent trail better. It projects pretty good, probably for 2.5 to 3 hours, and then it moves closer to the skin. It doesn't really become entirely a skin scent, but it does get closer to the skin. You can smell it on yourself wafting around and stuff, and it kind of stays like that probably for maybe another 3 hours, maybe 4 hours or so, till you get to about 7 or 8 hours, which is about how long this fragrance lasts on my skin. I can still detect it after 8-hour mark, but it's, I mean, I have to really dig my nose in, and it's very subtle, so I don't really count that. But anyway, I think mostly this is a masculine scent. I think people may see it that way, although, to be honest, I mean, I can see why any woman would love this scent. I mean, it's very enveloping and comforting and a relaxing kind of scent. It's like a warm, cuddly blanket. And you know, I think anyone can wear it if they're comfortable wearing this. I don't really put a lot of emphasis on gender in fragrances. It's really just kind of what you're comfortable wearing. So, but anyway, yeah, here's the bottle again. Now, this package is only available on Luckyscent at the moment. I think they do have it in stock, so anyway, go there and check it out. You won't be disappointed. I think it's one of the best coffee scents, and honestly, this to me, between this and Criminal of Love by Kilian, these two scents have to be the best blind buys for me for this year. I mean, I've been blown away by both these scents. It's great. I really recommend you try it out. I'm not sure if Luckyscent does samples of this particular fragrance, but they do have a sample program, so maybe you can sample first and see what you think about it, or you could find someone on a split as usual. But anyway, it's been great. Thank you. Give me thumbs up, thumbs down, tell me I'm good or bad. Give me ideas, leave comments below, and to new subscribers, thank you for subscribing, and I hope to see you again. Thanks. Have a good one.